Hello and welcome. This is BRAD, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use the hole tool on Autodesk Inventor. The part on the screen right now is one I did create using the hole tool, and I created several different types of holes in there, 3 different types. So we'll take a look at each of those real quick. This first hole here, you can see has 2 different diameters. The top is wider, and then it narrows to a smaller diameter. Both, of course, are cylindrical holes. So this is a counterbore hole, is what that's called. This next one also starts with a wide diameter, narrows to a smaller diameter, but it slopes in gradually. You might be able to see that as kind of a funnel shaped. This is a countersink hole. And then lastly, we just have a standard hole that's a single diameter all the way through. All right, so we're going to make each of those and recreate this part. So I have a new part file here, and we will start by creating a sketch. And we'll make the block is going to be 2 by 5 inches. Finish that, and we will extrude it 3 inches. Next, I'm going to create a sketch on the top of this, and I'm going to use the point tool to give the location of that hole. I'm going to dimension it 0.75 on the left, and we're going to center it top to bottom, so we'll go 1 inch there. And once I'm finished with that, I will use this hole tool. It's in the modify section of 3D model. As usual, if you hover over it, it will give you help on how to use the tool, and you can press F1 for more help. I'm going to select that tool. It's actually going to automatically choose that point, assume we want a hole there. You can see we have all these options that we have for it. We can do it a set distance or go all the way through in this termination window here. We want to go a set distance. This hole does not go all the way through. And we have 4 different types of holes we can do. We're going to look at 3 of them. This would be a standard drilled hole here. This is that counterbore hole that we looked at. And down here is the countersink. For this one, I want the counterbore. I'm going to make the outer diameter, the wider diameter of that counterbore. It's going to be 0.75 inches. And it's going to have a depth of 0.5. Then we're going to look at the overall depth of this is going to be 2 inches. Now, it's worth pointing out that that is the depth from the very top to the very bottom. And so the narrower part of the hole in this instance would be 1.5 inches because the counterbore is already 1/2 inch. And then we'd go an additional 1.5 inches to get a total of 2 inches. So that's my total depth there. And then the diameter of the main hole, we will make 1/2 inch, which makes me realize I made the diameter up above. No, that's all that works. Okay. So we'll hit OK, and we have our first counterbore hole. So next, we will put another point down. Again, I want it to be 1 inch from the top. And this one's going to be 1.75. And this is going to be our countersink. So I'll finish this sketch. And I will again use the hole tool. And now I'm going to choose this bottom option here for a countersink. It defaults to 82 degrees, which is fine. I'm going to keep that. And so that's going to be the angle of this slope. So like I said, this was that cone shape. And so we give the angle of that instead of the depth. And we still put the diameter of the wider part of the hole. I'm going to make that 1 inch this time. So it starts at a 1 inch diameter. It's going to take an 82 degree slope and go to a 1 inch diameter. Nope, that doesn't make sense. it's going to go to a 1/2 inch diameter. So it's going to start at 1 inch and it's going to slope 82 degrees to a 1/2 inch. This one I'm going to make a through hole. So we'll say through all. That's how it was in that original part. And we'll hit OK. And there is our countersink. So we'll just continue on. Next sketch. We'll put a point on here. 1 inch again. And this one will be 3 inches from the left side. And I'll use the hole again. This one's going to be a very simple one because we're just going to do a straight drilled hole all the way through. All we need to know is the diameter. And I'm going to stick with that 1/2 inch diameter that we used on the last hole. And we're done. And even though I've already showed you how to do a counterboard, we're going to do one more counterboard just to finish up and make the exact same part that we had. So I'm going to put this on here, 1 inch. And from the left side, we have 4 inches. And we're going to go back to that counterbore hole. And this one had a much bigger outer diameter. It was a 0.75. It had a depth of 0.25. And this did not go through all, it went a distance. This one was overall 1 inch deep. And the narrow part of it was 0.25. So there we go. There is that. And the last thing I want to show you is if you have a part like this, you can see I have multiple points on here, and I hit the hole tool, it will create a hole for all of them. So this is a part I want to do a countersink hole on that. And I actually wanted these to be a diameter of 0.125. And so you can see then what it would look like if I started at 1/8 inch, or started at 3/8 and sloped down into a 1/8. Actually, we're going to do a through hole on that. And it will just do that for all of them, which is a really convenient way if you're drilling a bunch of holes the same way. All right, so that should do it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps. Take care.